The first month I started this store, I made $83. The second month, $770. The third, $7,570. The fourth, $36,138. How the heck did I do it? Well, I'm going to show you everything I did so you can just copy me. If you don't believe me, well, I'm documenting the entire process on my other channel here, as you can see. With that said, let's dive in. So first of all, the initial process, I'm not going to go into any dropshipping basic BS. We're just going to get right into it. So in the early stages, I tested 3 products, 3 pods, right? Bear with me for this drawing, it's not great, but that was the first thing I did. And with those 3 products, so the first product I knew really well because I'd sold it years ago, and I made like $1,000 with it. So I was like, oh yeah, let me do what worked for me before. And so I did that. Didn't really work out. That was that $83. Actually, part of that was also the second product, which was the lip stain, which I'm sure you've seen. So many people have sold that. So that was my second product. Now, the third product for this store was the one that ended up being the winner. And that was the one that made $7,500, then $36,000. What I did was I stuck with that third product. This is something now that I've learned is if a product has the right fundamentals, right, so it has a little bit of wow factor, it definitely solves a problem, or it can be combined with other products to solve a problem. That's a huge one. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. But if it has the core elements of a winning product, it can be made a winning product, right? Your creatives are what matter the most. At the end of the day, you have to be a marketer. We're not in the product business, we're in the marketing business. So creatives are what matters, not your media buying, your product does matter. It actually has to work, right? So the product needs to actually get the job done. If it can't solve anything or do anything, it's going to be really hard to sell it. And then you're going to deal with returns and all kinds of problems. So the thing is, I didn't exactly find success with this third product, right? Initially, it wasn't great. It was kind of bad. And I was like, I don't know what I should do. But, like I said, I stuck with it and I focused on the creatives. I tested 16 angles before I went to what I call angle 17. That was where I ended up finding my winner. And in angle 17, I tested, I'm still using a little bit of that angle. I'm on my 31st hook. I have one body and I've tested over 30 hooks for one body. And out of the first 15, only one was good, and it actually ended up being my first winning ad for this product, which is pretty insane because I had 16 creatives before that, plus those other ones. So, we're talking at least like 40 creatives that I had made and I had spent money on that didn't really make a whole lot back. Part of that was me trying to find the angle that would resonate with the audience, the target audience, and some of that can be eliminated by doing a little bit more research in the initial stages, right? When you're finding a product and you're looking into a product, you have to understand the industry. It's not just pick a product and throw it out there, throw out some ads and hope it works out. Like the Halo data, rip the ads, throw it out there. I've tried that for other products, even after I've had my winner. It's really tough to do that. Sometimes you have to make your own ads and kind of piece things together. You have to understand the fundamentals of marketing. So what worked for me, and what I suggest you do, is you focus on these creatives and you double down on what works. This was huge for me. So obviously I wanted to just stick with this product. I found one winning ad, so I duplicated it. And then it was basically winning angle, winning angle, winning angle, winning angle. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, right? I'll be honest, this winning ad has just been my gravy train. Some of these have worked, some of them haven't. But in addition, I'm testing. I'm still testing other stuff. Now, the key is 80-20. Right? I'm obviously still running the store to this day, but the 80-20 is you double down. The 20% you're testing. Now, 20% of this testing might be on some other stuff, some other new offers. Right? It could be a new offer. It could even be on a new product as well. So it doesn't need to necessarily be all just creatives, but in general, you want to be doubling down on what's working. But the problem is your audience will get fatigued if they see the same format over and over again. Now, you're not really going to need to worry about that, especially if you're in a wide total addressable market, because the frequency of your ads won't be too high, especially if you're running a lot of top of funnel stuff. If you're running a lot of top of funnel ads that are more towards the unaware side of audiences, or in the solution aware, or those kind of phases, the frequency that people are going to be seeing your ads won't be anything crazy, and the CPMs are pretty high, at least in my industry, in the beauty industry, but it's probably different for you, but CPMs are high. It's hard to get a lot of views. And with 100,000 people, you're not going to tap that ad out unless like it just really only appeals to a few people. So I do suggest being specific in your marketing on these different ads, on these creatives. Be specific, right? This is something that I learned just in copywriting. I have a buddy who does copywriting, and he makes over $70,000 a month. And the number one thing he says that people struggle with is being specific. He says, if you can be as specific as possible, you're going to get so many more people to buy if you could be more specific. Because chances are, if there's one person like that, a certain way, there's plenty more who are out there. Because think about it, there's 330 million people in the United States. And how many of them are on Facebook? An insane amount, right? It's like, I'm just making up numbers here, 100 million. 100 million people, that is absurd, right? If one person's like that, there's going to be bound to be others. And then once you can resonate with that one person, you can resonate with a lot of other people. That's where you're going to hone in on insecurities. There's a lot of negative emotions that you can play off of. But ultimately, what also works too is focusing on the gain. Now, I'm getting a little bit off track here from what I want to talk about, but I'm just kind of going over some different things. Gain angles, there's only two angles you're going to run at the core of it. It's going to be gain or pain, and there's emotions that you're going to run off of that. With gain sort of angles, it's you getting something without something else, because typically a gain in of itself isn't strong enough. There needs to be a without statement. The whole premise of make money online, right, is you make money online without going to work, without working a 9 to 5. That's where the without comes from. The gain is huge, but there needs to be a little bit something else. That's where the without statement comes in. The third thing I want to talk about here is AOV. With the rising ad costs, with tariffs, with this, with that, costs are insanely high. It is harder than ever to profit, especially in the beginning. That's what I found out. Now, obviously, I lost a lot of money in the beginning of running the store. I was down $1,400. You can watch that in the series that I'm doing on my channel. I made it all the way down to negative $1,400, which, I was fine with because I knew I needed to pump money into this and I had to keep at it. So I understood that I needed to do that. And what I realized was the AOV needed to be a little bit higher. So I added in a little bit of shipping. I started charge shipping. Then I also made sure that I had upsells. I had post-purchase upsells. I had upsells everywhere. Then I had started sending some emails, and that's really helped out the store overall. But one of the core things with AOV means you can't sell a product that is from TikTok organic. Right? If it's a product that's just some cheap little thing, obviously all products from China kind of are, but if it's a cheap little thing from TikTok organic, you're just not going to be able to sell on Facebook ads. If you want to run TikTok organic, that's fine. I'm not the guy for that. I cannot do that. I can do Facebook ads. I cannot do TikTok. That's a whole other world. So if you're going to take one of those products, you can find organic products on TikTok and take them to Facebook ads. That's definitely a thing. The problem is you have to pick the right ones. They have to have those fundamentals that aren't just wow factors. They actually have to solve problems, actually have to have a chance to have an high AOV. You can take one of these TikTok products, like I said, and then you can bundle it. This is what was huge for me. This is how I was able to break through. And this is what my third product ended up being. So it was a 3-in-1 kit. Hopefully somebody doesn't find my store off of this. But it's a 3-in-1 kit. And you can bundle things. You can do a 2-in-1 bundle. You could do a buy one. This is a couple offers I've tried were like buy one, get one. These are huge, by the way, in beauty right now. Buy one, get one. Buy one, get two. Right? So there's different offers you can play around. There's all kinds of things you can do. But if it's some cheaper products, right, or one core product that's pretty good, but it just doesn't have enough juice, bundle it with some other things to create a solution. This was one of the biggest things that I learned, was to create a solution, not just a full solution is what I mean here. I don't mean just like a partial solution, because a lot of times a product will just solve a little bit of this. So imagine you have a problem, right? Your problem is this big. The product you sell solves only this part. They still have this problem right here. Right, what if you just sold them 3 products that solve all of it? Now they're going to be happy. They're going to be like this. If part of their problem is solved, they'll be happy. That's like getting some wasp killer, right? But it only kills like 2 of the 3, like 2 out of every 3 wasps. It only works on 2 of them. So you spray it, man, there's just there's still some wasps left. Like, it wouldn't make any sense for the person to buy your product if it only is going to kill 2 out of every 3 wasps. If you can solve the entire problem, which is killing all the wasps in this instance, they're going to buy the product. And they'll buy it again because wasps come back and I hate them. But that's besides the point. The thing here that it all boils down to is the root cause. Now, the customer might not always be aware of the root cause. Right? So for some females, it could be a lot of these insecurities that I was talking about earlier. What comes down to that? It comes down to their body shape, their looks, and they might be aware of the fact that, yeah, I feel insecure and I don't really want to like take pictures and do all that kind of stuff. But what is the root cause of that? And that is, of course, well, human nature, first of all. Number 2, it could be a part of their body, right? It could be their big legs. It could be like Bleem, who sells the hair eraser. It could be hair that just grows back and it won't go away. There's all kinds of different things, and the same goes for men as well. Like a lot of brands now are doing, there's like men's skincare brands. A lot of men do have the same things, maybe not to the same degree as females, but in today's generation, there's a lot of people, that are insecure about things just because of social media and everything. So you have to look a little bit deeper and look at how you can solve this root cause, which is that full solution that I was talking about. This is something that I feel like people just don't talk about, but there are some people that do, and they're the ones that are making a lot of money. So that's where I want to be at. And if you can give somebody a full solution versus one product, and this is also a way to get around saturation, because there is a competitor that was selling this product that was selling just one. So by adding on 2 extra things, my value is inherently higher than this person over here, which is my competitor, right? This is me, this is them. Who are they going to choose? They're going to choose me because I offer more value. This is also an objection that you can overcome of people selling on Amazon. Why wouldn't people just go to Amazon and buy it cheaper there? Well, you offer more. You have the full solution here, right? So they might be able to buy this product on Amazon. But if you go to your store, you have all 3. You can get the full solution. It might cost a little bit more, but there's a little more personalized support. The shipping's not going to be as fast, that's for sure. But the final thing I want to touch on is spending, aka spending more. This is something that I learned from someone who's not in the e-com space but is in the online business space. You might have heard of him, Joel Kaplan. I told him about this store, and he said, "Why don't you just spend more?" And I was like, "Well, this." He's like, "Doesn't matter, just spend more." And so I've increased the spend as much as I can without breaking some different things. That's another thing. You can't break the store. You can, because you're going to find out how to fix it and you're going to learn the hard way. I definitely did for a couple things. But you have to spend more. In order to make more money, you have to spend more money. Now, with this comes a little bit of a drop in profit, at least for me. My profit dropped, like my margin dropped a little bit. That's another topic we're going to talk about on another day, is gross margin. Oh boy, that's a heavy topic to unpack. We'll have to talk about that in another video. But spending more is huge. So what I did was I started scaling 20% every day that I was profitable. So 20% plus every day. So from 100 turns into 120. And you can see some people say like, "Oh, I want to scale faster." 20% every day is a lot. And so in the span of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, you went from $100 to $250. That might not seem insanely aggressive, like you could double budgets, but it's not. But if you have a newer ad account and you're just trying to get rolling, you don't want to go crazy because you don't want Facebook to just destroy your metrics. So that's what I did, and I just kept going with it. And then once I wasn't profitable, or I was like right around break even, I would let it chill. So I'd be 250, 250, 250, and then once it was profitable again, I'd start scaling. I'll tell you right now, I am still profitable, but I'm not scaling. I'm just chilling. Currently, I'm spending 1K a day, and I've just been chilling there. Just for a couple reasons with suppliers and some issues there, but I've just been chilling at 1K. Once I kind of get some green lights on some things, and some things are figured out, I will continue to scale this. I've also had some issues with credit card companies, so there's also that. But that's where I'm chilling. But you just continue 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, and then just chill. And if things aren't bad, this is something that I learned from Brando Manetti. He runs a lot of 8-figure e-com brands. But he taught me that if you have 3 bad days in a row, you start decreasing by 20% until everything stabilizes. Once things stabilize, then you just chill, and then you can start scaling again. So That's how I look at scaling, and ultimately spending more is going to make you more money. It's going to. So long as your ads have a wide enough TAM, right? You can't force spend on certain ads that are going to be, meant more as retargeting ads. You can't force that. But if they're top of funnel, unaware audience ads, you can easily spend more. And this is something that I feel like a lot of people just don't do. Is they just don't have the guts to spend more. You can't just chill. You got to keep going. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep spending. So those are the 5 biggest reasons why I made $36,000 last month and why I'm on pace to make over $50,000 this month. Now, if you want to learn more from me and you want to even be one-on-one coached, go ahead and click the first link in the description to join Tropic Ecom. It's a community plus a course plus one-on-one Loom coaching. So I'm just trying to pack as much value in there as I possibly can so you can learn even more in detail of exactly how I did this and how you can too, because after years of doing it and struggling, I realized it's really not that complicated. It's actually kind of stupid how easy it is once you kind of figure it out. So with that in mind, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.